Yo, what is going on, guys? NRUK Racing League here, and welcome to the first ever episode of NRUK Talks. It was happening every Thursday, and yeah, I hope you guys can stay tuned with the whole video. I'm just going to talk about real life NASCAR and motorsports in general news. That's what I'm going to talk about. I hope you guys share your opinions. I know you won't agree with me on all of this. That's fine. We all have different opinions. I accept that. This is my opinion, just putting it out there. But yeah, if you have any ideas that you want me to do next week, make sure you message them in the Discord. I have a channel set up for this talk show. And yeah, if you would like to post your opinion there, or on today's matters, or suggest one for next week and post your opinion on that, then please do it, and I can make sure this will feature on the video. Here we go then. So the agenda today, we're going to talk about the new paint schemes that came out. This is going to be a weekly thing that happens. The three big races, the Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix, and the Coca-Cola 600. Mostly it'll be focused on the Coca-Cola 600 because, of course, this is a NASCAR talk show mainly. And when I won't do all of the IndyCar races and F1 races, it will just be NASCAR races probably from here. It's just because we're starting on this week. Three big races, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the new aero package, or not new, but the one that was raced in the All-Star race. Have some opinions on that. Electrical components is NASCAR. Is Hendrick Motorsports dead? We're going to talk about Chevrolet's new package, fan ratings and winners, and people's views on this season. That's what we're going to talk about. I hope you guys listen to my review first before going to comment. But if you want to, it's fine. Yeah, let's get into it. So, the new schemes then from this week, and of course there are a lot of new ones because was Memorial Day, so a lot of patriotic schemes from America. Didn't feature all of them, picked out 6 here that featured. Austin Dillon's one is I think all the ones on the left side I like, the right side not so sure about. Those are some new schemes from this week. Out of all of them, I probably like Austin Dillon's the most, and the one I probably least like either Casey Gaines or Chris Buescher's. They're not great schemes, really, to be honest. That's only a quick segment. We move on to the Indy 500 then. I have to be honest, I did not watch a lot of this. I watched the closing laps, the last 30 odd laps or so. And I don't know, I can't really give a full opinion on it, or judgment. I knew Will Power, who won it, led for most of the way. Shame Stephen Wilson couldn't win. For the UKFE one, I would have probably gone a bit mental, but it's such a shame. If I really wish they had enough fuel mileage, it would have made it so much more interesting, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, and Will Power came out the winner. I don't have much opinions on that. However, I do have a lot of opinions on the next issue, the Monaco Grand Prix. What an absolute abysmal race, if you could even call it that. It was absolutely awful. This is one of the reasons I don't watch F1, or not a lot of it, because races like this are absolutely abysmal. Daniel Ricciardo, got the pole, and that pretty much decides the race now at Monaco. There's no room to pass. The cars are so wide in F1 that there's basically no room for any of the drivers to overtake. You can't even call it a race because they haven't got any opportunities to overtake. Daniel Ricciardo even won, and he had some sort of power outage or shortage, and he still won because no one could pass him. It's so bad. F1 has gone so much downhill because it's all based on the car, and so many of the big teams have such a big advantage over the smaller teams with lesser money, and it was just a really poor race. Absolutely shocking, and one of the reasons I don't watch F1. Now we move on to the main bit, the Coca-Cola 600. Sorry for the image quality, it's not the greatest, but Kyle Busch dominated. He led pretty much all laps, 370 odd, came away and won it. Fair play, he deserved to win. Don't take it away from him. He did deserve to win it. He just flew away the competition, but that's my problem with this. If a driver like this is going to win and lead 300 odd laps every week, then they're surely not going to attract in any more or new fans. I mean, the racing behind him was brilliant. It was alright, from second through the rest of the field. The racing was good. It was alright. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst I've ever seen. There was some pretty decent racing between the rest of them. But when when one driver has such a clear advantage over the rest of the group, it's not going to attract them in. I mean, it wasn't a great race, you know. It's not because Kyle Busch won either. I like Kyle Busch. I actually think he's matured a lot over the last couple of years. He deserved to win. I'm not taking away the fact from that. But, I mean, he had a clear advantage over all the other drivers. His car was so much better, and surely that can't be, you know, it's not the greatest way of bringing in new fans, because when I started watching NASCAR, you know, it's all about anyone can really win it. Of course, some of the few backmarkers couldn't, but, you know, there was always a good battle for the lead. There was always a lot of lead changes, but it was just a one-man show, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, the racing behind it was alright, but, I mean, when it's not for the lead, you know, it's just really not sure how I feel about it. I don't think it was a great race. I probably would have given it a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 out of most. That a really good push. You know, it was just a bit of a, you know, nothing really changed during the race regarding first position. I think that's what mainly made it such a bad race, because there was no challenge for the lead all day. Kyle Busch just blew away the competition, and that leads me to this next one. The aero package that was used in the All-Star race. The All-Star race probably was the one of the better races we've seen this season. Definitely the best on a 1.5 mile track this year, I personally believe. And I really enjoyed the All-Star race. It was great racing. And I know there's definitely some pros and cons to this new aero package. You're going to run through it. One of the pros, though, is, look at this. This is a quote. This is what I found. This is actual fact. The All-Star Race aero package resulted in 38 green flag passes for the league compared to 0 during the 2017 All-Star Race. That is something quite incredible. I mean, you look how many changes for the lead under green there were in the Coke 600. Maybe 2 or 3 at the push. 38, though. And I know it's an exhibition race, and I know it's shorter, but please, we got to give this a chance in a proper race. I just want to see how it does. If it doesn't work out, then fine, it doesn't work out, but I would just love to see these guys have a go with this package. I think it's going to bring more better races, definitely than the All-Star race, and we saw some great, more competitive field. I know Harvick came out the winner, but the point is that there was a lot of lead changes, the good racing, you know, the cars definitely looked a bit more equal, maybe, and it was more about the driver's talent on who came out there racing, and who won the race was based on that more, maybe. But the racing was definitely a lot better. You know, we saw a lot more passing, a lot more good battling, and of course that's some pros about it. The cons are, of course, this is going to slow down the speed of the cars massively, and the races will be longer. But I don't know. There's many solutions to that. I mean, you either make the races shorter, or you can split it into 2 races. This is what I would do. I split it into 2 races, make it shorter, and then, you know, top 5 or top 10 add a bit of weight on their car, so we just see a different winners, and I think that'll please the fans more. I know that definitely might not reward maybe some good driving, but still, that's what I would do personally. But of course, that probably won't happen. I'm not the NASCAR board. I can't do anything about it, but definitely would like to see this package used during a race. But then again, will teams find a way to cheat this system? It's almost like a cycle. It changes every single time. We saw, I think it was great racing in 2014, and year after 2015 wasn't great. 2016 we saw some good racing. 2017 wasn't great. So it seems like this cycle of introducing a new package. First year it's great, second year it's meh, and then they change it again. But I don't know, I think we just got to give this a chance, and we need to crack down on teams trying to find ways to make their cars faster. NASCAR should be based off, you know, the skill of the driver and how good they are, rather than, oh, who can make the best car, which I'm going to get onto anyway now. I should really talk to in the next section. That's my opinions on the aero package. This is what I'm talking about, the more electrics coming into NASCAR. This is the 2018 rules package here. And I mean, I don't know if this really applies to it. This is the only image I could find. But more electrical components into NASCAR is not going to do it any of good. It's the worst thing that could happen to NASCAR, I think. It's just not going to make great racing. It's not going to attract more fans in, because simply the team who can find the best components and make their electrical parts better are going to win. It don't matter what driver they put in it, their cars are just going to win, and this is the problem. We've seen it in F1. F1's practically all electrical now, and you see three drivers winning a season. We don't want that any in NASCAR. Of course, there are seasons where there's not double digits of drivers winning, but it just would be the worst thing to happen. And the more electrical components they add, I think the worse the racing is going to get. The worse the ratings will drop more. The sales will go down. They'll lose fans. And I think they just got to, get rid of this before it becomes too much like an F1 kind of sport where drivers are winning, half the races a season. It's just stupid, and I think this would really ruin NASCAR if they introduced it anymore. They need to just, stop adding electrical parts. And of course, one day NASCAR probably will go electric, but for the time being, please just keep it to good racing. One day, of course, NASCAR will go electrical. All motorsports will be electrical because we're just progressing in the future. That's what my view on electrical parts are. Then this is the most... I know I'm a bit late on this, but I think this is the most stupid question. Is Hendrick dead? Of course not. No way. This is just a ludicrous question. Just because Hendrick have had a few... haven't been great throughout the start of the season doesn't mean they're dead at all. They've got loads of money. They've won multiple championships. And they're just, they're just going through a bit of a transition period. A new car in terms of the model of Chevy that's come in. New drivers, the amount of young drivers they have. Of course, Jimmy Johnson is an exception from that. But the 3 young drivers they got, they're just going through a transition period. Hendrick will come back. No doubt they will. They've got some young drivers. The young drivers got to have experience. Byron, Elliott and Bowman, still pretty new to the series. No, Elliott and Bowman have been around for a bit of time now, but still they've not had... I don't think the quality of this ride, especially Alex Bowman, hasn't really before. But they've just got to wait, and eventually I think it'll come good for Hendrick. This leads on to my next bit, is the new package that Chevrolet ran in the Coke 600. Of course, this isn't here because I couldn't find another picture again. Sorry, but the new package, Chevy introduced some new packages, I think, to their teams over the weekend, and it was great. Definitely paid off. Chevy made an improvement there. And you saw Jimmy Johnson was up at the front, Kyle Larson, Jamie McMurray was even there. It's great to see Chevy back up competing at the front with the Fords and Toyotas. And they have definitely made some progress with their car. I think that package is going to improve them. And hopefully it'll be good. And hopefully we see, cars like Jimmy Johnson, some of the Hendrick cars, Richard Childers, Ganassi, all, competing back at the front. And hopefully they can win some races. It'll be great for Chevy. And hopefully we see them win a race that isn't a restrictor plate track. Hopefully we could see that. Next up, this is one thing that I'm really quite annoyed about, is the fan ratings. I think the fan ratings for the Coke 600 was something like 20% said yes, it was a good race. And for me, that is just... I don't get it. Martin Truex Jr. the year before led all but I think 7 or 8 laps, yet he got a high rating. Kyle Busch led most laps, but he got a low rating. Mainly because it's just Kyle Busch, and I think that's wrong that fans have such an agenda against a driver. Of course, we do have drivers that we dislike, but I wouldn't necessarily base, because the driver won the race, I wouldn't say, oh no, it was a bad race because he won. Of course, I think Kyle Busch has matured a lot, really, over the last couple of years. From what he was, he's a bit of a controversial kind of character, but I think he's matured. I think he really has. He still has his bit of tantrums here and there. That's just him, though, isn't it? But I think he has matured, and I think it's definitely a lot more respect, I think. But that's just my opinion on it. But the fan ratings are just affecting NASCAR even more. The racing, I would say, was probably better in this year's Coke 600, behind the leader, than it was last year's. And that's just because fans aren't happy with the way the season has gone. They're not happy that Harvick's won loads of races, Kyle Busch won loads of races, and these two are dominating. It happens. Every year there are two contenders for the title that normally do well in the season. I just want to highlight back to 2011, Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards, 2010, Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson, 2012, Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski. There's always going to be these few drivers that win a lot of races a season. It happens, you know. And I think what fans are mainly annoyed about, which I kind of get, is that they've all happened kind of in succession, you know. Of course, normally drivers that get 5 or 6 wins, they're more spread out. They're not, you know, bam, 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 win, 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 you know. But I don't think that should be a factor whether it's a good race or not, just the outcome of it. The race should be based off the racing. And, you know, the competing for the lead, not who wins the race. You know, people who win the race deserve to win the race. I think the fan ratings are just ludicrous. I really do. I don't think they're justified at all. That's just my opinion. And then finally, I have some views on this year's season. Some of the things I've heard over social media have been absolutely atrocious. People saying it's a bad season. Why are the same drivers winning? NASCAR is boring now. Disagree with this a lot. First of all, it's not. How is it a bad season just because two drivers are dominating this early? Of course, I'm not in favour of the drivers dominating that much. Of course, I've just talked about it, but you know, it can't be a bad season when. And it's not a great season. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh yeah, this is the best season ever. It's not. It's way off that. Way, way, way off that. But it's not a bad season either. Just because a few drivers have won some races in a row, I mean, of course, we don't want to see, it's not great. We don't want it to become F1 where only 3 drivers win per season. I just don't get it, man. You know, fans saying, why are the same drivers winning? Well, this is funny, right? Because I believe this year, how many winners have we had? We've had something like, I think, 4 or 5. And yes, that's not a lot for NASCAR in terms of different drivers, but that's more than F1 still. You know, if the same drivers were winning all the time, I mean, people are saying it now. Imagine when you're at watch F1 and it's Hamilton and Vettel winning every single race a season, maybe 1 or 2 which won by Ricciardo or Verstappen. It's just so dull. F1 is, but the same drivers are winning, I guess, but not like week after week after week. It seems to change a lot, and now between Harvick and Busch, of course it does. But Truex has won, Clint Boyer has won. I can't remember anyone else off the head. I know that's a lot less for NASCAR, but still, I think it's, you know, and NASCAR's boring now. I disagree with this as well. Racing has not been great this season. Just because one driver's leading a load of laps doesn't mean it's boring. It doesn't mean it's great racing though either, if you know what I mean. Certainly isn't going to bring any fans in. Yes, it is a lot more dull. So that's what I most agree with, but I definitely don't. I'm not like, oh yeah, NASCAR is definitely boring, because it isn't. The racing behind the leaders still has been alright. It's just these few cars have seemed to get an advantage here, and that's what's annoyed the drivers. And I'm going to say once again, it's not what I want to see in NASCAR. It's just, you know, it's a lot of stuff that I disagree with. But that is it for the first ever episode of NRUK Talks. If you have enjoyed watching this, please comment down below your opinions and your issues for next week. I'll make sure to include them in the video. And if you have enjoyed, I hope you've watched all of this. Please like, please subscribe. BP Truck Series race coming out later. If you have enjoyed the first episode of NRUK Talks, please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.